側の縁石に
The bigger difference between racing in Europe and racing in Japan. You can give one advice to the people that is watching that they want to come in Japan to work as a race engineer, race mechanic. We are here with Oliver Rasmussen, a professional race driver that he has been racing in many categories, and he's passing from Le Mans this year coming to racing Super Formula. So as I want to help a little bit with the content for you people to come in Japan, working motorsport as a race mechanic, race engineer, we'll take a little bit of information out of him to see if he can help us to make easier for you to come in Japan.
This year has been great. It's been an amazing opportunity that I've had. As European drivers, coming to Japan is kind of exceptional because it's not something that you can do easily. I've personally always been, a little bit in love with Japan and admiring the culture and the country.
The bigger difference between racing in Europe and racing in Japan, what you will say that it is? Like inside the box, like in the circuit?
I think the approach that teams in general have towards racing is very different.
Mentality of Japanese people trying to get the results.
Yeah, so it's more how you get the results. The driver has a very, very big impact because they go from the fact that the driver knows everything that they need to be able to, go as fast as possible.
Yeah, they trust you 100%.
Exactly.
Like,
in Europe,
they don't trust drivers.
Well, they trust drivers, but to a certain extent. They know that drivers are not perfect.
Yeah.
So as an engineer, they will try to extract the good information from the driver to be able to put it into the car. As opposed to here in Japan, as a driver, it feels like experience is very important to know where to guide your engineers. The approach of how to extract.
You have been explaining all this information to them in Japanese?
No,
that's the main problem, not that they have about the language.
Yeah, I mean, if you could speak Japanese, it would be a huge help, I think.
From the team, how many people were speaking in English?
I was lucky to have one mechanic, two engineers who were good at English. But it's very few people. Actually, the mechanics are the hardest ones to really interact with. Just my level of Japanese is very low and their level of English is very low. So in that sense, it's very hard. But definitely, if you could speak, the language, it would be a big help.
Yeah, many people want to come to live and to work in Japan without knowing Japanese, thinking, with English it's gonna be okay. But it's important to have a little bit of Japanese, at least to be able to communicate and to survive. How it was, the accident? We saw that was like really a shocking one. You were going really fast.
Yeah, I mean, these cars are very fast. They are the second fastest cars around the world. I made a small mistake, Suzuka, at Degner 1, where I clipped the inside curb and unfortunately pushed me a little bit off the line. Yeah, I went on the outside curb and bottomed, and from there on, I mean, the runoff is very short. So since that corner is very high speed, you don't have a lot of time to really react to it. And then I was fortunate to hit the wall straight away. But
it's crazy that you have been able to recover that fast.
Yeah.
After all the injuries and this, like,
this
was a really strong mind and pushing forward.
I think I have good genetics. Of course, I put in the work to come back quickly and as best as I could.
If you can give one advice to the people that is watching that they want to come in Japan to work as a race engineer, race mechanic, which will be your advice number one to them? That you can say, I wish I knew that before coming to Japan.
If you want to come to Japan, I think the number one advice is that you need to be open-minded. Because if you're not open-minded, you will very quickly go into this mode where you're not adapting well to the society, to the way of people are working, to the way that people treat each other. And I mean, everything is of course based on that culture. But if you are not open-minded, even towards the food, because you need to adapt to the food, it's just very difficult.
Did you ever drift?
No, properly no. I can see your disappointed face. But
I like to mix like professional drivers with drifting, like let them try to see how they do as well,
Of course, I mean, it's a very cool discipline. Passion is huge here, definitely. I haven't seen any drifting events, but I went to Daikaku I mean, it's very, for us, Tokyo Drift, you know.
As the movie.
Yeah,
right?
it's, it feels like the same. It feels like the same. You're just missing the car drifting through Shibuya crossing, but other than that,
I think nowadays it's quite difficult to make the Shibuya crossing drifting.
Yes.
I would not recommend it.
Me neither. But no, it's very Tokyo Drift-like, which is actually very cool because, you know, I grew up with those movies, so it's very cool to be able to see that in real life.
All the cars are passing. First time for us coming to Daikoku, filming, doing content and showing you guys. And as you can see, this is the reality nowadays. It's 7:45 and they are shutting down the place.